All right, everybody. Top Producer Tuesday. Nailed that. No, excited to do this. Top Producer Tuesday with Marina Ruiz. I'll give my little insight, my little beginning and kickoff before we give really her the mic. But I found out I was doing this yesterday, no disrespect, but I was actually very excited because I swapped trainings with Andrew. So I get to be here with you and in front of the agents. And obviously my man David's here. Right. Good to see you, brother. Way to show up and support. Very good man here. But for me, the interesting part, like what I'm excited about is I've been a part of Marina's journey for a while here. And I've also been as observant as a lot of you guys are. So for me, I ran through a bunch of questions, put some things together, kind of honestly things that I want to know. Because it's really been remarkable to watch a lot of her growth over a short amount of time. Obviously, we'll go through it, but I think the room speaks volumes, obviously, to what we and obviously they think about you. So thank you. First and foremost, let's give it up to Marina for being here, right? So obviously there's a lot of talent inside this room, all different levels, all sorts of production levels. So for me, my goal is to try to keep this, where we can make an impact on everybody. And I think Marina obviously is a great person to do that because she's seen, a lot of different stages here. So, Marina, before we kind of kick off, we'll kind of get to what ChatGPT said, the person behind the producer, which I liked a lot, and we should maybe make that a segment. But why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Who's Marina Ruiz? Tell us a little bit about yourself outside of real estate. Give us the bio.
All right. Born and raised in Delco. I grew up in Drexel Hill. I have 3 brothers. I think growing up with 3 brothers makes you a little tougher. Monday nights were Monday Night Raw with WWE. My brother took my Barbies and ripped their heads off. So I was not a girly girl growing up. And I think growing up with brothers made me the tough, put me in coach mentality. My parents, my mom and my grandfather were in the restaurant business. My dad has his own company, an interpreting company. So he sends out translators to court cases for people who need translation services. So that was weird because my dad has always worked from home, which I don't think was a thing. That's interesting. Yeah, it wasn't a thing 20 years ago.
Born and raised in, where'd you say? Where were you born?
Drexel Hill.
Drexel Hill, okay.
Yeah. 20 years ago, my dad was always home, which was weird, but he always had his own business, which was interesting to see growing up. And then my mom always working every day because the restaurant industry is really tough in terms of hours. And, we were a middle-class family, had a good childhood, no struggles until high school, which we can get into. High school, I go to Notre Dame. So I'm going from Drexel Hill to a private school out on the main line. Notre Dame is an all-girls private Catholic high school. So that was when I was exposed to wealth that you don't see in Drexel Hill.
That's actually where my wife went, and the same exact experience as myself.
Yeah, we bonded over that. We did bond over that.
They go to school in a castle, which is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. If you haven't seen Notre Dame's campus, you should Google it. It's gorgeous. But I loved my time at Notre Dame, and I think going to an all-girls high school gives you a different sense of confidence. But I think going to an all-girls school when you're not trying to impress any boys or anything, everybody was themselves at Notre Dame. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence going into college and just throughout my life, because they always encouraged you to just be yourself. And you didn't feel like you needed to impress anyone because there weren't any boys around to try to impress.
So it sounds like you kind of, early on, you grew up in a great household. Mm-hmm. Your parents obviously working, so you learned a lot with work ethic and different things like that in the early years, and then got a little glimpse of high school Marina. So tell us a little bit about college Marina and where'd you go and what did you think back then you were doing? What were you studying? What did you think your career was going to look like?
Yeah, so after Notre Dame, I went to Penn State. I originally wanted to go to school in Florida and didn't get into UF, so I was really upset about that. But I wanted to go with the big state school, so I went to Penn State. Best 4 years ever. I know we have a lot of Penn Staters in here.
Yes, we do. That's for sure.
Woo.
State.
We are. I hate math. I don't like numbers. I didn't know what I wanted to do. met with like the general guidance counselor, and they were like, oh, you should do public relations. So I was like, okay. Didn't really put much thought into my major or what was past that. Besides, I didn't have to do math. So I did PR, and I think throughout high school, like being the volleyball captain throughout Penn State, I was always seeking leadership roles, like things to put myself out there, going beyond, the extra mile and putting myself, like I was in a lot of organizations for public relations between different clubs that they had that you could join. I was always on their like leadership board. So I think that helped me also build confidence and learn how to put myself out there. And it became senior year, and it's time to job hunt. Some of my friends are getting jobs. I had a few internships throughout college with PR, and it was fine. And I wasn't really having fun with the job hunt. So I was on TikTok, and I saw some girl who was talking about how she lived in Spain and was teaching English and getting paid. And during my study abroad time in Chile was during COVID in Penn State. So I got the boot earlier.
Hold on one second. You skipped Chile. When did you were living in Chile?
Well, I was supposed to live there for like a whole semester, but that happened during. Well, I went there. I was there for like 3.5 weeks, and then we got the boot because of COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know, it was brutal. So I always had an itch to live abroad, and after college...
You just had to move home?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I know. I was hoping I was going to get stuck there, but that didn't happen.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was so sad. I mean, everybody was affected in COVID in different ways, but...
You should go back. You should be able to go back and get that year back, in my opinion. Just like the NIL deals, all these kids signing these days. Like, you should be able to just go back to Chile for
I agree.
6 months.
Well, I kind of did that. So I'm on TikTok and I see some girl living in Spain getting paid. College is over. I still have this itch to live abroad. So I followed what this girl did to go live in Spain and get paid somehow. So I moved there without knowing anybody for a whole year. I taught English in a random little small elementary school. And best year of my life. It got that like itch to live abroad. I was getting paid a mere like 800 euros a month. So my rent, I think, was 200 euros. So I had a little play money.
What year was this?
This was the year after I graduated college. So 2020, I graduated college 2021. Yeah. So 2021 to 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was in Spain for a year, best year of my life. I learned so much about myself, communication skills, learned how to like solve problems. Being out there, the hardest part was getting myself set up. I had to get like an ID, a work visa and everything, and communication skills, because I showed up to the school thinking that these were all Spanish little kids, and they were all Moroccan because we were super close to Morocco, and we were in a small city called Murcia. And I was in a school with a bunch of Moroccan kids who didn't even speak Spanish because they were all, like kids of immigrants who came from Morocco. And so I got really confused because I thought my Spanish was all messed up, or they had a different dialect when I showed up to the school the first day. And then the teacher was like, no, they're speaking Arabic because they're from Morocco. So I was like, okay, that makes a little more sense. But yeah, so after Spain, I moved back. Well, my parents moved to Florida 2021. So I moved back to my parents' house in Florida and got a remote job, fully remote in PR. So boring, not fulfilled. But my parents, I'm living in Florida, so they have a big like pool in the community. I just bring my computer down to the pool. I wasn't even working. Like my poor boss thought I was doing a great job, but I would just like toggle my
use a little mouse tracer.
Yeah, and I would just sit by the pool all day long.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Sorry, Amy Eichelberg, if you ever see this.
There's so much stuff about like my old job and previous people. So it is what it is.
I can't believe I was getting paid to work. I mean, it wasn't that much money, but still, I was not doing anything.
Right, we'll save your face and move on from that point. So you come back from when you leave Spain.
Mm-hmm.
This
moved back to my parents.
Moving back to your parents. This is now what, 2023?
No, 2022.
2022. So give us the next steps there. You know, kind of next parts of your journey and where were you at the.
So I was bartending, working PR, board. Now now it's 2023, and my friend's mom in Philly is like, you should come do real estate. And I was like, no, like I have a job, like I don't know anything about real estate. So she keeps bugging me, and she had bugged me since high school, like, oh, you should do real estate. I'm like, I'm in high school, college, I'm getting my degree. After college, I'm moving to Spain, and then I have a job in my career. Why would I, I paid all this money to go to school and get my degree. Why would I do real estate? And then at my 1-year annual performance review, I gave my boss my 4 weeks notice. I was like, I'm quitting. I'm going to go into real estate, moving to Philly. And so August 2023, I moved to Philly. Didn't even have my license yet, which I probably should have kept my job until I had my license.
Let's unpack that a little bit. So from someone who's been getting asked since high school, right?
Yeah.
Or, whatever year that is, right? Going all the way now till 2023.
Yep.
Why just at that point, you just make a decision, hey, in 4 weeks, I'm going to quit, go all in. I don't even have my license yet. I'm moving to Philly.
Yeah. I feel like I did the normal path, like you go to college, you get a job in your degree, you're working that job and you don't like it. And it's like, okay, like what's next?
Yeah. Just a straight bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, really,
I was bored.
Has that always been your nature? Like, have you always been like that? Like that's a pretty big risk, right? I mean, let me ask you this question, I guess. Put yourself back in your shoes. Like, did you think about what you would have done if you would have failed?
There's always jobs. I mean, like PR, there's so many jobs. It's such a broad umbrella. I knew I was going to come here and bartend, so I knew I was going to make money somehow. But I'm always someone that's going to figure it out. So,
but I mean, listen, I think about that, and I love to ask that question because I mean, it's just something, right? Something happens, something clicks in you, and it's good and find out your opportunity. Mine, there was a little push and pull factor, but everybody, for you, that's great. So you go, all right, screw it, moving to Philly. I'm going to be a real estate agent. I don't have my license yet. Tell me what's the next steps? What happens?
Yeah, so I moved to Philly August. I didn't get my license until October. So I was kind of just bartending. I picked up a few tutoring shifts with Tiger Woods Learning Lab. So I was doing that 2 times a week and bartending and trying to pass my exam. Finally passed the exam, get my license, and I joined with Remax Mainline. So I was mainly out in like Phoenixville. And I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know. Like it was a lot trying to get through real estate, bartending 5 days a week, and then also working this third side gig job of tutoring. And it was hard to find the balance and know what I should be doing as a new agent with a small team.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember you coming over at that point, and I know it was a tough decision because you really appreciated and respected the people that you worked with there, things like that. But I guess, like, at what point did you feel as if, like, if you were to be successful here, like, did you feel like you needed more? Like, what were you really after? I know, like, you were out interviewing for people. I mean, I'll tell them our side of the story, but yeah, tell me, go through that.
Yeah, so throughout my time at my first team, I kept coming here for trainings. I just kept getting invited. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I remember the first one I went to, I think it was after you went to Gary Keller's mastermind or something, and you gave us a bunch of notes from that. And I was like, wow, I'm not getting this. But it came to the point where I was 8 months in, I think. I got licensed October, whatever, 6, 7, 8 months in. I had one sale, and it was only $240,000 condo in Rittenhouse. But it was still a great learning experience. So now I'm like, okay, I'm 7 months in. I don't have any sales. I haven't done any rentals. We're like, okay, let's do a first-time home buyer seminar. And I've told this story before on one of our kickoff calls where I'm like, I got to find something to like find clients. Like all I kept hearing was in podcasts and things I'm reading and everybody I'm talking to, you got to make appointments. You got to make appointments. So I was like, what kind of appointments should I be making? Like I truly didn't know. So now I'm like, okay, let me try to do a first-time home buyer seminar. I'm getting no RSVPs. Poor David, my fiance who's here, is like working around the clock like 48 hours before to get people from his company to RSVP yes, so I can like have somebody show up. And I was told by the the lender that was partnering with me that you shouldn't have anybody that you know at your first time home buyer seminar, which I think is terrible advice looking back at it. He's like, you shouldn't invite anybody that you know, like at all. It should be a complete stranger. So how do you get strangers to this is a business where you rely on your sphere. So I'm now printing out 100 flyers, walking around Rittenhouse, trying to get people to come to my first time home buyer seminar. That was like the lowest point for me, because who is going to take a flyer for just some girl and like,
frantically running around Rittenhouse.
Yeah. I'm like, come to my seminar tomorrow. So it was the following day, and now I think the day before the seminar, or maybe it was the day of, and I met with my team lead, and she was like, we should pull the plug on it. She was like, oh, like, I just don't think you're a good fit for our team. I don't think real estate is cut out for you. Like, you should go look for something else. So then I'm like crying. I was not expecting that. Me and David are right near like Pat's and Gino's. I think we went to get pizza. I'm like crying at Gino's cheesesteaks, like thinking that I should quit. We're just eating pizza. And
we've all been there.
Yeah, so I thought that was it. I thought that was my time to quit. And David thankfully pushed me. He's like, well, like, what if you gave it another shot? Like what could be next? And I was like, well, I know this one team like that I've been talking to. So very next day, called Marissa. She was going to her bachelorette trip, but she still like made it work for me. And then I came here, and trajectory changed.
Right, and we'll lean into some of those things, and I think it's important, like, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of different factors that come into it, and I think everybody experiences different parts and different levels of it. So I want to kind of lean into a few different one of those things. But I guess from our perspective, what I would say is, and what we really saw was like, we saw an eager agent on our side, meaning like we would host events, and I remember Wendell Place and like Nick Gigani obviously was here, and he'd be like, who's this girl? She's always hosting our open houses. Why is she on our team? Like, and I find out, we tell Marissa, Marco, we'd all kind of just try to get the right people, because we were looking for the right people. And I think what we saw out of you was somebody who was hungry, who had a willingness to learn and wanted to lean in. And at the end of the day, that's the best person that you can open up in the ecosystem. So, kind of give me day one for you. You step into here, you have one sale under your belt. Obviously, I can know, and we've all been, everybody except me has been here, has their first day here, which is pretty funny. So I know what it could be like, and we're a big company, but you have big producers, small producers, new ones. Kind of, day one walking in here, what did you think with one sale under your belt, and what were the next steps from there?
Yeah, I mean, it was intimidating, because everyone comes from that one sale, but when you are that person with that one sale under your belt, you feel intimidated. And I wanted to be where everyone else was at, that I'm joining this team, because the growth pod wasn't too big. Yeah. It was just kind of me and Maeve were the only new agents. So that's why me and Maeve were like hip to hip always. So we really bonded, because we were two agents, kind of same timeline, joining growth pod and coming in here, being able to collaborate with everybody, ask people questions, see what other people are doing, take note, kind of try to do the same thing. The packet that Growth Pod gets for first, 90 days, like I wish I had that to start out with. Shadowing other agents on the team, getting coffee with them, and the Growth Pod trainings in the morning. Like, I actually felt like I had something to do, and beforehand, I didn't know what a buyer consultation was before I joined here. So like,
listen, no one knew what a buyer consultation was until Andrew jammed it down your throat.
So that was helpful.
Well, so it sounds like that you came in when you got here. It sounded like you had a little bit more ability to find structure.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And structure, and ultimately kind of accountability, but things to kind of bounce off of. So, and one thing I saw from you is like, I guess the structure for you also meant somewhat times, being in the office, things like that. So, kind of tell me like what your experience was when you came over here and you started learning different things. Like, where did you find yourself finding out and learning new things here at Rarity?
I mean, I think the Growth Pod trainings were Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Those were super helpful. Being held accountable for doing a buyer consultation role play and listing appointment role play on camera with Andrew Gismondi really will like whip you into shape, because you don't want to show up to that unprepared. And
we find out when you guys don't, and it's actually pretty funny.
yeah. So advice is just like, watch Andrew's videos, and if you do exactly what he says and does, he will compliment you so much. I'm like, I literally just copied what you said, and he thinks it's genius.
Just repeat them. So looking back at that, I mean, let's lean into that part. Because I think I'm a big fan of this. And, listen, I give Andrew a lot of credit for that, because I was more of a wheel and deal, run and gun type agent, like I know we have in here. But I also know that you like to take a very, relationable sort of approach, and you like to lean into those consults. So, when you came here and you got here to Rarity, like, tell me how you have evolved in your consults, what you started at, where you're at now. Just kind of give us an overview on that.
Yeah. So like I said, being forced to do that role play, David remembers I like forced him to do it so many times with me. Before I went for the role play, I did it with David so many times. So I feel like I had it perfected even before I did the role play. And then going out after that, you get I think it helps being a new agent after you get the green light from leadership or an experienced agent that's good. You feel confident that you can do that in real time. So going to open houses, talking to people. Now I know what appointments I'm setting. It's a buyer consultation. So no matter if it's a close friend, a stranger, somebody met at an open house, I'm running the same buyer consultation the same way every time. And I think it builds trust and confidence and helps the buyer understand that you're competent in what you're doing.
So when you say it builds trust and confidence, do you mean in the client or yourself? Like, let me ask you, like, do you
Both.
feel,
Yeah.
Because listen, for me, that's how I am in a lot of my processes. Is like, I have to do it this way, or I just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I don't launch a listing, Danielle, I'll tell you this, I don't launch a listing the way I'm very superstitious, like in that fact.
Yeah.
Right? So, tell me how you've curated that over the years, and like, what is really important? What do you find really important in that process that you're gathering that you feel like is helping you win?
Yeah, I feel like I'm off if I don't do it, because we haven't established our expectations.
So like, what are you getting into there that's so important that translates? Like, giving these guys that
I mean, like, if you read the buyer consultation questionnaire, I just go through that. So I think even just like, I think the biggest question is, like, how many homes do you expect to see? They say that, and you're kind of like putting the expectation, okay, like around this mark between 6 to 12 homes is when you're going to see that home and feel ready. So I think that's what helps people mentally understand, okay, like around that time, I should be finding a house. And I think that helps me, turn clients a little fast. Now, I still have clients who have seen more than that. And still working through on how to not see that many. But sometimes it takes what it takes, and not every client is going to be that 6 to 12 benchmark. And I'm fine with that. Some people aren't. Some people may fire a client after seeing so many homes. But I think Nick Rao said it when he was talking, showing homes is a fun part. As long as I know that they're going to transact and they're a serious buyer, if it takes a few more homes, that's fine with me. If we're looking for over a year, if I know you're a serious buyer, that's fine with me.
Yeah. So I just kind of understand the growth and the steps, right? When did you join here? Do you remember the month? And
July 2024. So
July
2 years soon.
So July, we're coming up on 2 years, and then at the end, what are you aiming for this year goal wise? Tell me what volume, production, things like that.
So last year I did 8 million. I'm hoping this year to bump it up to 10 million. Or 25 transactions, whatever hits first, I'm a little off in transactions right now. I've got 9, so we're a little off pace.
So I want to lean into that.
Yeah.
Because, I think that I'll be fully transparent and honest. I think anybody that steps in, commits in full-time in the real estate, can see that growth and build that business every single year, right? I've experienced it. There's a ton of us in here that have experienced it.
Yep.
But I think a lot of us sometimes get, I don't know whether we don't trust ourselves or believe in ourselves. So for you to so just like, I know it's got to feel crazy for you to be like, from Marina being 2023 license saying, I'm going to get 10 million this year. It's got to be nuts. So like now, tell me how you have the confidence now to say it and say it like that. Like, give me a little insight into that.
Yeah, I think it really comes back to my thing of buyer consultations. Like, as long as like you're just focusing on one thing, it's like your drive for, every day. Like if you don't know what your action or your goal is of the day, it's kind of hard to get towards your goal. It's great to have like a big goal, like, oh, I want to do 10 million. But if you don't have the small steps in between, then it's like, how do I get there? So I think just like focusing on the small basic thing of, okay, if I can get some buyer consultations in, I can easily turn them to clients, and then that's how I can get to my goal.
Well, I want to get into that. So, I mean, listen, like kudos from 2 years to 10 million. It's a great story, great goal. Like,
I'm not there yet, but
the part to be. It's a great thing to be. So, before I kind of want to get into some of your business things, because I'm enamored by some of the things that you do. I think you're doing them really well, and I'm excited to kind of learn from you a little bit. But from that point, 2023 until this point on, like last question I wanted to kind of ask you is like, tell me one thing that maybe you struggle with, or a lot of people didn't realize that was a part of that journey that it was hard to get to where you were, to where you are.
I think the most underrated, and I think a lot of people struggle with follow-up. I still struggle with it. I host a lot of open houses. We meet a lot of people. You say one text, you send one text, and you consider that follow-up. And sometimes I do too. And like, that's my biggest weakness, but also like when I'm locking in and I realize I got to follow up with people, that's what is bringing me production and driving they're moving the needle, because it's got to be more than just one text, one call. And we're hosting open houses, and I think you move on to the next open house next week and you forgot about the people last week. And it's the times when I'm actually following up with people and, kind of taking the steering wheel a little bit, make them think they're in the driver's seat, but you got to tell people what the next step is, and take the guessing out of it for them. And I think by doing that and follow up and telling them what to do, like what's next, is what's helping me move the needle.
Process. That's great. So I want to get in your current playbook, a little snapshot into your life, $10 million producer, things like that. So like, walk me through a typical day. How many hours on average, like a regular working week, are you working? Give us an idea of your schedule. Kind of give us a general layout, all that.
Yeah, I think because I'm a very structured person, I think that was a great thing about coming here. I need structure. That's why I'm here almost every day. I treat this like a 9 to 5, and even past that. I should track my hours because I'm curious how many hours I work. Definitely more than 40. I'm working on weekends, and I'm also treating this like a 9 to 5.
That's one thing I'll tell you. If you could learn, one of the biggest ways to grow is to track how much you're working and understand it and measure that.
That would be interesting.
There's nothing's more valuable than your time.
Yep.
Right. So that's a big learning lesson. That's for everybody in here. Is like, understand how much you're working now, and then figure out what you want your life to look like. Yep. And go and execute on that. Right. So, so walk me through a typical day, typical week of. Marina, when she's cranking, she's doing her thing.
So every day at the gym, David's there with me. We go to the gym 6 a.m., 7 a.m. the latest, but typically 6:30.
Can I pause you real quick? No, sorry, not. Yep. David sounds like a great real estate coach, by the way. He's like, like everything. Oh, David, you're crushing it, man.
Nah.
Guys, role playing. Yeah, no.
Maybe I should have showed up.
Listen.
I'm either using her to say this or not.
Nick and Marissa, let's get this guy,
I have told him he would be a great realtor.
Anyone looking to spark their business. That's a coaching program ran by you. Get to come live with you guys in South Philly. David will snap you into shape. But sorry. I just had to say I love it. But all right, 6 a.m. You and your accountability buddy David's you're on your way to the gym.
We're
6 a.m. What's next?
So we go to the gym. We definitely hold each other accountable. Yes.
So are you at the gym 6 a.m. or you're leaving for 6 a.m.?
We're normally a 6 a.m. hit. So we leave at like 5:45. Okay. We're always running late, sometimes 5:50. But we're back. And I love the 6 a.m. class because then I don't feel like I'm rushing in the morning, because I do treat this like a 9 to 5. So if I'm not here by 9, I feel like my morning's kind of behind, and I feel like I'm running late, even though I'm not running late for anything. I don't clock in for anybody. Allison knows if I pick her up, I always say I'll be there in 5 minutes, and then we're usually here by 9:15 if I pick her up because
You driving SEPTA now too?
I do work for SEPTA, and Allison gets a private pickup spot.
You're in a
right,
that's
right on
deserving.
21st and Market.
I'm happy you do.
So I'm here around 9:15 is hopefully my goal, and I kind of just take it day by day from my 411, like depending on what my goals are of the week, what I'm doing, following up with people. I'm always trying to be ahead of my clients, looking at the inventory, and then just making my goal to schedule some buyer consultations.
So do you attack your day like, hey, in the mornings I'm in the office, in the evenings I'm chasing appointments, or hey, I'm going to block all my showings Thursdays? Tell us about how you attack your weeks and blocks and things.
Yeah, and recently I've been really consistent with social media, so that's been a big part of my day.
We're going to get into that.
Figuring out what I'm posting on social media and whatnot. And the past week I've been on vacation, so I haven't posted in a little bit, which is probably going to hurt me, but house tours have been very big for me. So I'm just I'm repeating whatever is working on Instagram. And that's what I'm focusing on most is Instagram. I'm also doing my YouTube. Haven't seen any traction on that, but that I don't expect to see any results from my YouTube until about 6 months into a year. So yeah, I'm in my day-to-day, I'm figuring out what I'm doing for socials. I'm following up with people, trying to find that one person for the buyer consultation at least once a week. And then just random admin things that come with the job between showings and appointments.
What are the non-negotiables that need to happen like every week, regardless of how busy you are?
Keeping in touch with clients. Like you don't, if you have an active client, you don't want to go more than a week, I think, without speaking with them. Even if you're sending them a text like, hey, just checking in, anything in the portal that you like, or sending a property to them. Hey, I think this one is a good one. Or, hey, I checked there's nothing really going on, nothing matching our criteria, but reaching out to agents in my circle to see if there's anything coming up.
Lean into that a little bit, because I feel like this is an extremely underrated thing that we always need to be doing. Like, I mean, I used to make a killing off of this, of just simply browsing the MLS and putting property and putting product in front of your clients. Tell us how you approach that with guys.
Yeah, I will continue to do that until people tell me to stop. There is one open house client from my old team from 2 years ago who I see is still in their portal. I have called them many times. I text them and I send them properties every once in a while. They have not answered me, but they haven't told me to stop. And they're still in my portal. So I'm waiting for that one day.
Hit, right?
And then I had one referral last year. We went on a few tours and they kind of just stopped answering me. But I continued to send them properties. And finally, a few weeks ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, they answered me. I was like, oh, hey, like we like these. So we're back out on showings because I haven't lost them as in the shuffle of their life because I just keep sending them properties.
Before I want to get into spend, I got some other things we want to get into, but before we, kind of jump into that, like, is there one thing that you like, what one metric do you keep an eye on that like the health of your business, right? Like, what are you always thinking about?
I keep saying it, buyer consultations. I mean, I probably should have better metrics of like conversions in my business and what's doing what. But that I love the events that I do. I've now hosted 2 first-time homebuyer seminars.
So tell us about the second event, the real quick, just to recap, and then I want to jump into social media for like your first-time homebuyer event. You and your accountability buddy, fiance David, were running around Rittenhouse. Tell us what happened at the second one.
The first one didn't even happen, and then the second/first first-time homebuyer seminar was here. I had a great turnout. I think
How many people
I
was
think
that?
we had like 15 people, which is great for a first time homebuyer seminar in person.
And then how many buyers? Leads,
I have one pre-approval out of it so far. A lot of them are in early stages, but I know that they feel confident in me and the lender that I was with to move forward when they are ready, because I see them and they tell me, oh, like, Marina, like I'm gonna call you when I'm ready. Even at David's last happy hour for his goodbye party for his job that he just left, one of his coworkers that was at my first time homebuyer seminar, she's like, oh, I want to set up a call with you.
That's great.
And talk about buying, like probably not for another year, but I do want to talk about it. I was like, let's talk now.
Well, just real quick, what was the difference from when you tried to run the first one that got canceled to getting 15 people here? What was the difference of it?
I asked people that I knew. I don't know why I wasn't allowed to ask people that I knew.
Oh,
I mean,
I was
like-
hoping I was teeing you up for some sort of like ad and commercial.
Well, also I did offer. I was raffling off Eagles tickets. I think some people need
Hey, go Birds.
a bigger incentive than to come learn how to buy a house and have a free hoagie and a Surfside.
Well, that's great. I mean, listen, I think that's a great success and great, experience and learning lesson for you. Is like, from nothing to, hitting them out of the park and, having a great business. It
Yeah.
just speaks volumes to what you're doing. So one of the things I know a lot of people like, and we look, I'm meaning myself, like I see that you do a great job at social media. And the other thing that too, I want to lean into a little bit to YouTube, but like, give me your social media approach. I heard you say, really, are you only focusing on Instagram? Do you feel like it's easier to like kind of just give everyone that quick approach of how you attack it and what results you're seeing, different things like that?
I think it's easier to focus on one that you feel most comfortable in, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. I think you should still repost on the other platforms, but really like tracking everything and engaging with people and checking it more often with just one. So Instagram's the one I'm focusing on. In terms of content, I think the house tours do better than anything else. I also try to do lifestyle. I try to do some random like carousel posts and, guides and what's happening. But I think the house tours have done the most. And I've seen a lot of traction recently in terms of followers. And eventually, like, these people are following because of house tours. Eventually, if you stay consistent, I hope so, you're going to see those followers turn to clients. I am really pissed because one of the DMs from one of my most recent house tours went to spam. And they were very interested, and I didn't see it until like a week or 2 weeks later. And they told me they're already putting an offer in something else, and like they found another agent. I'm like, damn, the one that went to spam.
All right. Well, that's why.
But it just shows that like people are ready to transact on social media if you're engaging with them. I think a lot of people use the whatever that mini chat is that auto sends an AI message. I don't like that because I don't think it seems very authentic. And I know a lot of people will message every new follower, hey, thanks for following, blah, blah, blah. I think it's weird. Like, I've never gotten a message from a new person that I follow, and it's like, hey, thanks for following me. It's like, what do you, I don't know. So I've seen I think I've gotten a few hundred new followers over the past 2 months.
What's the number one thing right now getting people that like is generating a lead? Like something.
The house tours.
The house tours.
Yeah, because people are like, where is this?
Marina
Like,
Carpenter.
yeah, and people get mad in the comments because you always leave out a detail, but I do that on purpose. So.
And then is that so? Like, give me that tip. Is that one of the things that you do? Is like what are you going in and doing a house tour, leaving something out, price, address, location? What are you leaving out?
Yeah, especially if it's off market. I'm not going to tell you what the listing agent's going to price it at, the address, and all the information when it's off market.
So how are you getting these off market listings?
Gordon Stein, shout out to Gordon.
So guys, just a perfect example: Gordon, Waybar,
Yep.
Marco with all his developments, all these agents with your developments with upcoming listings, upcoming inventory, use that as teasers to draw people in, generate opportunities, right? These are things that you're learning that she's using and doing right now that is at every single one of your fingertips, right? Anywhere. You could do it anywhere. You see one of a friend, an agent that has something, hey, let me use that,
yeah, and
and we were just talking about it.
It's not just Gordon, but although Gordon, every time I post Gordon's listings, it goes viral. So
yeah,
Gordon's
got
doing
good
something.
taste.
But I'll be so annoying to other agents, not even on the team. Like, I'll see that they're posting it, or I follow a lot of the developers and contractors who are doing these renovations, and I'll DM them like, hey, what's the address? Who's the listing agent for this? And I'll reach out to them.
Just
and
get
try to
real with
in
me
before.
though, just to be like serious. Like, how much business do you actually generate off of social media? Just give me a percentage, like if your sources.
I've only had 2 social media leads before.
Perfect.
However,
What does your pipeline look like?
and what
Like from social media?
From social media, I think social media is more important for my sphere right now because everybody that follows me is, like I said, I'm from here, so I'm staying in front of people that I know and that are from here, and I think that's going to help. It's a long-term game. I mean, you can't like get a bunch of social media leads overnight, and I know it'll happen because it happens for a lot of people who are big on social media and get a lot of leads from social media. But
I think what I hear you saying is it for you, it's not about the number of leads or contacts you're getting, but it's just being consistent with your authenticity to your market.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, it's me and my
for you guys,
and my brand and showing
for the
my
audience,
sphere.
what I would say for you guys to take away is just consistently do it. I think Marina takes a really good approach at it. You know, if you're going to go viral on one platform, they'll follow you on the other ones.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing that you can dominate where your sphere is and give them good quality content. Marina's touring great houses. I watch her stuff. I'm in the business. Like someone's sitting in their office and, you know, in Walnut Street definitely wants to check out a sexy house on a Tuesday afternoon on Instagram, right? They're looking at that stuff. And when they think real estate, they're going to think Marina, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think for you, like that's what I'm kind of getting that from you. It's not about the quick lead or the cold lead. It's about the authenticity and building brand and value.
Yeah, and I think like people get leads from social media, but it's just consistency and just knowing that you gotta go with it long term. Like if you're going few months consistent and then you fall off, it's not gonna work. So I'm just playing the long game here.
I love it. All right, I want to do a little. We got about 10 minutes plus here, and obviously I know we have some questions too. But I'm playing game show host, so I got to play a fun game show, right? So we have a little rapid fire round. I want to ask you some Philly real estate edition questions. It's basically this or that. You know, you kind of pick and choose. I didn't really scrub these, so don't look at me. And then as I said, we'll get into a few things, and then I want to get into some Q&A and ask the audience a few things. So Philly Rapid Real Estate Edition. I think I know the answer to this, but Pats or Genos?
Oh, come on.
You got it's this or that.
I'll say Pat.
Rapid Fire Edition.
I'll say Pat because
or
he's
Genos?
a nice guy.
All right, Pats. Okay. Center City listing appointment or Jersey Shore listing appointment?
Center City. I know the market better.
Buyer client or seller client?
Buyer. Buyers are fun.
Open house with 20 new leads or the perfect one private showing?
Perfect one private showing.
Girls' night out or romantic dinner?
Oh, man.
That's the only question I changed because I knew David was right here.
Girls' night.
Rittenhouse Square condo or mainline single family?
Oh, mainline single family.
Work from home or work from office?
Work from office.
Easy $500,000 first time home buyer or pain in the ass $3 million luxury seller?
Easy first time home buyer.
I beg to differ. Broad Street Run or Philadelphia Marathon? I know.
Broad Street.
There you go.
Really fun.
Showing homes in the snow or in 95-degree heat?
95-degree heat.
Roof deck or back patio?
Back patio.
All
Nobody
right.
uses their roof.
Well, all right. Well, listen, I appreciate you, Marina. I had to kind of ran through a lot of my questions. I know we have a lot of questions here, so I want to turn it over to you guys.